Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Tim. That was pretty cool. So, with Tim's guidance, you are on your way to picking the right people with the right skills for your transformed IT department. That's great. And once you've got them on board, what exactly do you do with them? What projects should they focus on? Which tasks should they prioritize? How do you make sure they're always giving you their best value for their time, for your money? And what does any of this have to do with an escalator? Well, you know what? It's about time we brought in a pro to answer these questions. And Atrion's Vice President of Sales, Mark Moretti, is that man. He specializes in the art and science of managing time, and he's here to help you manage yours so you can get the most from your team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Mark Moretti.
Thank you, sir. How you doing? I'll tell you, Chris made a comment this morning about public speaking, and waiting all day to get on stage is like waiting for the electric chair. It's crazy. So I have a little side bet going that I can't have this conversation in 30 minutes, so that's on. But we're going to go ahead and get started today. I'm going to show you a quick video.
That's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are two people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? Help! I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
No, well, there's not enough left to do, is there?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he could fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
So does that ever happen? Does that ever happen in our day-to-day lives? Either ourselves or someone on our team gets stuck, right? That can happen. So before we get started, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to actually turn to page 5 in your handbooks. And beneath the pyramid, there are 6 lines. So on those 6 lines with your fancy little pen, I'd like you to identify between 3 and 6 tasks that you or your team perform on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Okay? 3 to 6 tasks that you or your team perform on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. People making progress? So I got a question I want you to think about. You don't have to answer this, I just want you to think about it. So how do each of us in this room position ourselves to experience better things? And by better things, I mean get better results. Experience more personal and professional growth, those things. How do we do that? Show of hands, how many people in this room perform a number of tasks on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, but don't get the desired results that they're looking for? How many folks? So what are these tasks? What are these tasks that are consuming all of our time? Go ahead, shout some of these out. Email. Okay, so reading and responding to email. That's actually number one on the list. Give me another one. What's that? Meetings. Meetings that result in no action, right? Give me one more from this side of the room. Reset passwords, right? Firefighting, things of that nature. So these things that are consuming all of our time, what if we were able to get some of that time back? Not all of it, but some of it. Wouldn't that be neat? Aren't there other activities that we can engage in that would be a much better use of our time? Quick trivia for you. Who can tell me what the word suicide means? Kill yourself. Who can tell me what the word homicide means? Kill someone else. I want you to think about this one. I want you to think about, what does the word decide mean? It means to kill the other option, to kill the other ideas. You know, a colleague of mine shared that with me some time ago, and I thought it was a real clever way to articulate something that I think all of us in this room are challenged with. We certainly don't have a lack of ideas or a lack of options. I think sometimes we're just challenged with identifying what are the things that we should do versus the things that we shouldn't do. Okay? Which leads us to the best part of this entire workshop. Okay? So you might want to have your handy pen and write this one down, because this is going to be the zinger. Okay? We started this by asking the question, how do you position yourself to experience better things? The best way to experience better things is to make better decisions. The best way to experience better things, get better results, and have more personal and professional growth is to make better decisions. That's it. That statement is so powerful, I could end the workshop right here. Okay? But I'm not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to run through an exercise together. So if I could actually have the ambassadors at the table grab the cards and start getting the cards unwrapped. I tried unwrapping these things yesterday, and they're wrapped in Kevlar. So if you can get those unwrapped, I'm going to go ahead and start to give the instructions. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to play a card game. Okay? For those of you that are playing the game, these are going to be the instructions. Okay? So the goal of what we're trying to do is we're going to toss as many cards into the pail to score as many points as possible. Okay? We have a couple of rules. So one is the pail that was at the center of the table, the pail must remain at the center of the table. Okay? 2, this is a team sport. So everybody at the table must be engaged. Okay? 3, all of the cards have to be tossed in, single toss. You can't throw the entire deck or entire stack of cards into the pail. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds to go ahead and do the exercise. So when I say begin, are all the cards distributed? No? Having challenges, open them? Okay, so just give me a thumbs up from the ambassador at the table. Give me a thumbs up when all the cards have been distributed. And I'm going to grab my trusty little stopwatch that I brought to keep this thing honest. All the cards distributed on this side? What's that? That's good. Everybody good? All right, so we're going to go ahead. When I say begin, you're going to have 1 minute and 30 seconds to score as many points as possible. Ready? Go. You got to toss them. Okay. That's good. That's good. $30 seconds. Everybody done? So everybody's done tossing in the cards? All right, so let's go through some of the scores here. So I imagine, based on what I saw from folks tossing in the cards, people were standing right over it, okay? So I didn't give you the instruction to sit back in your seat and toss the cards, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and we'll count up the scores, okay? And I imagine that you're only going to end up with the same score, pretty close to the same score, based on the fact that face cards and aces are worth 10 points, and all other cards are worth 0 points. So is there anybody that didn't toss the entire deck into the bucket? So this is improv, folks, improv. So we're going to do this thing again. So everybody in the room here has a score of 200 points, correct? You did it twice. What? More than 200? Did the whole deck twice. Okay, 400 points. Okay. So I'm going to add a rule for round two. We're going to do this thing again. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to not hover over the pail. I'd like you to actually sit in your seat and toss the cards. Add a little bit of challenge to this thing, okay? Now what I'm going to do for round two is I'm going to give you 30 seconds to plan with your team to figure out how it is that you're going to play this game to score as many points as possible. So if we have the record over here at, leaving the way that we played the game in the first round, over 200 points, we're looking to score over 200 points. Okay? Remain seated and toss the cards in. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to plan. Okay? And then we'll have a minute to actually go through the exercise. Okay? So start planning. Ten. No, yes. 0. Okay, your 30 seconds of planning is up. I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 minute to go ahead and perform the exercise. Okay? Sure. Ready? Begin. Fifteen seconds. And time. So how do we do? Can I have the ambassadors tally up the scores? Was somebody keeping score at every table? No. No. So who scored between 0 and 200? Show of hands. 200 and 400. 400 to 600. 600 to 800. 800 to 1,000. Over 1,000. Nobody over 1,000? That's too bad, because when you guys were playing the exercise, I got a call from the boss. He says he wants to do this one more time, only we're going to have a goal. So, what's that? Okay, well, we have a goal. We're going to do this again for round 3. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit more time to plan. Okay, we have a goal. We're going to have to do 2,000. So if you guys didn't get to 1,000, it might seem like a daunting goal to get to 2,000. Okay? But in order to do this, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you a minute to plan. Okay? And then we're going to have 30 seconds to execute on the activity. Okay? So why don't you go ahead and start your planning. You'll have 1 minute to plan. What's that? Yeah. No, you don't have to stay in the seats. You just have to toss the cards. You can't, like, stand over and drop them in. One at a time, toss them. Like, toss them. Five seconds for planning time, guys. Okay, you can go ahead and begin the exercise. Make sure you keep score. Yep, go ahead, start. And time. Time, 30 seconds. So, is that a table that got to goal? Over 2,000? How many people got to goal? How many tables got to goal on this side? I don't know. Kent's got a big smile on his face. I don't know if he's telling the truth. How about on this side? Who got to goal? Give yourself a round of applause. Nice job. Nice job. So let's go through this. Let's go through this. I want to have a conversation. Now, despite the fact that, again, I didn't give the instruction to sit back and toss the cards and make it a little bit more challenging, right? You still saw the scores climb each round that we played, okay? So do me a favor. Before we get into the actual debrief, and I'm going to share my observations, talk at the table as to what was different between round 1 and round 3, okay? Just chat with yourself for maybe 30 seconds or so about what was different between round 1 and round 3. All right, so let's talk about this, guys. So round 1, I asked everybody to engage in a task. You didn't understand, you didn't know how the points were going to be scored. You basically had a deck of cards, and you started tossing these cards into the bucket, right? So we exercised, had a lot of activity, and we scored some points, right? We got marginal results, okay? Round 2, we changed the game. I told you the fact that the face cards and aces were worth 10 points. So I saw most of the folks in this room discard all of the non-point cards. And I also added a planning element. So you had 30 seconds to plan. Okay? We got better results. Going into round 3, you had more planning time, gave you a minute of planning time. I also gave you a goal. Okay? And I reduced the actual time to execute. And you got better results. How crazy is that? How crazy is it that you got better results in less time? Does that ever happen at work? Does anybody remember this picture from last year? We shared this image. It's a Gartner study, Run, Grow, Transform. Talked about the investment that IT makes in money, time, and effort. 65% of our time is in run, 20% is in grow, and 15% is in transformation. Do you remember this last year? These numbers are actually your statistics from last year. We did a live poll, and you came up with the exact same numbers that Gartner did when he did a 14-year study. Okay? That's that. So if I look at the return on investment that we talked about last year, investments in transformation have an inversely proportional ROI. Okay? Didn't this kind of play out in our card game? You had less time to actually execute the task. We had folks scoring over 2,000 points. Okay? Less time, and you got better results. It's the same thing with investments in transformation. Investments in transformation result in greater outcomes. Okay? Making our way, when we were playing the card game in round 1, we were just tossing cards. There was a lot of cards that we were tossing that were never going to give us any result. They were worth no points. Okay? How often does that happen in our day-to-day lives? Where we're going through, we're doing the task because you know what? That's what we've always done. We just come in and we do our task. Well, those are the kind of things where we get stuck in the run. Okay? Now, the big question is, Mark, this is fantastic. You told me I got to make better decisions. You told me that we played a little card game together. This has all been great. But how do I take this back to the office? And a number of you had questions or were thinking that when somebody asked a question during Chip's presentation about, this is fantastic, this is good information. How do I take it back with me? Okay? So one of the things I want to share with you is there was a concept that was shared with me some time ago, and it's actually changed the way that I make decisions. Okay? It's a very simple concept. It'll help you to kind of understand where it is that, when you make a decision, what it is you're making a decision about. Okay? 2 simple concepts. So I'd like you to actually take out your fancy little pen there and make some notes on this one. So the first concept is called prevent pain. Okay? Prevent pain, these are all the tasks that you have to do. Okay? So next to prevent pain, right? Have to do. If you choose not to do these, they will become urgent. So you can ignore them, and at some point, they will become urgent. Okay? Now, the really neat thing about prevent pain tasks is you can delegate them. Pretty cool, huh? Let me give you an example. A number of you in this room leverage Atrion for max time support services. You've delegated that run task to Atrion so that we can do the firefighting, and you don't have to. You can spend more of your time focusing on the business and figuring out how technology can apply to the business to accelerate the business. Okay? You will get to delegate prevent pain tasks. The second concept is gain. Guess what? These are all the things you don't have to do. You don't have to do them. Because you don't have to do them, they never become urgent. Ever. Okay? Now, there's one caveat to gain tasks. You can't delegate them. You cannot delegate a gain task. Okay? I'll give you an example of a gain task. All of you today were given a complimentary copy of Chip's book, Peak, How Great Companies Get Their Mojo from Maslow. Guess what? You don't have to read it. Isn't that great news? You don't have to read it. No one's going to check with you. Okay? It'll never become urgent to read that book, ever. But guess what? Somebody else can't read it, and you get the benefit of taking that back to your organization and sharing it with them. Okay? Won't happen. On page 6 in your workbook, you had identified some tasks, right, when we first started the exercise. There's also a section in there for start, stop, and stay. Things that you're going to start doing, things that you're going to stop doing, and things that you're going to stay doing. So if you wouldn't mind filling out some of that start, stop, and stay, and identifying some of the tasks that you're going to start to do, some of the things you're going to stop doing, and some of the things you're going to continue doing. So why don't you take about 30 seconds and start filling that out. I'd actually be curious, too, based on the new definitions that we have of prevent pain and gain, was there anybody that had a gain task in their task list this morning? Show of hands. Allison Rossi, 1. Couple. Oh, Robert Johnson, 2. That's fantastic, because you know what? If you don't incorporate gain tasks into your day-to-day and with your teams, then you'll be stuck in the run. You will make no progress, okay? You will be doing tasks just like that round 1 card game for the sake of doing tasks, okay? Incorporating gain into your day-to-day will help to make progress. It'll help to achieve those better things that we talked about, okay? So we started this session with me asking you a question about how do you position yourselves to experience better things, okay? I'm going to leave you with a question. The question I'm going to leave you with is, post this event, how will you position yourselves to experience better things? That's my time here this morning or this afternoon, and one of the things I want to leave you with is we are hosting an event on May 17th. The venue has not yet been determined. We're going to determine that based on interest. So I really hope that you guys can all join me there, and I'd love to see you and work with you. Thank you very much.